What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Run With Tobe Podcast. My name's Jared. We are on episode 29. 29 was an awesome episode. We interviewed Bobby Hobart, a.k.a. Bobbay, as he likes to go, the bearded man. That's how you can find him on social out there. This episode was super awesome. The energy in it was ridiculous. I can't even describe it. And hopefully you guys will stick around and check out the full episode because this guy brings it the entire time. So let me tell you about what we kind of dove into. We had an agenda and we were going to kind of cover a few things, but then the conversation just carried really well and it just opened up beautifully. So Bobby and I talk about how hard it is to make it here in LA, which is a topic that I'm sure if you've ever talked to anybody that's lived in LA, how difficult it can be. I'm sure they've let you know. But he gives us his insight on what it takes to kind of hustle and be on the daily grind of having a regular job and do something creative on the side. He actually started his podcast called Purpose in the Youth with the intention of moving out here to LA at one point, and he dives into that story really well. And it's pretty awesome and amazing how he's been able to grow his audience and the followers and the size of the guests that he has on there in such a short time. So that's really cool. I hope you guys really enjoy that part about the podcast. We also talk about his day job, which is not a traditional day job for most people out there, but he is an Uber driver by day and I guess by night. In fact, he picked up a couple passengers on his way here to the studio before we recorded, which was pretty awesome. But he dives into what it's like to be a top 2% Uber driver in the world, which is pretty amazing. Something that Uber's been doing, they're starting to recognize their high-end drivers and kind of give them accolades, similar to how YouTube does. So that's really cool that we dive into that part. Then we talk about all the nitty-gritty and the nuts and bolts of what it takes to produce a high-quality podcast. Bobby, once again, delivers with high energy, and he tells us all the trials and tribulations that he had going into the beginning of his podcast to where it is today. So really excited for this episode, really excited to share this with you guys and hopefully Bobby's audience. If you guys like this podcast, make sure you rate, subscribe, tell a friend about the Run With Tobe podcast, and we hope you guys enjoy. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Run With Tobe podcast. My name's Jared. I'm sitting here with a special guest. Andrew took the day off, unfortunately. So
taking the days off. Come on, Andrew. I wanted to meet you, brother.
He's gonna miss this one. We're sending out our thoughts to you, buddy, because this is gonna be a good one, and we're missing you. But
it's gonna be a great one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into episode 29.
29.
All right. So, as I said, special guest for all you listeners out there. Man, I don't even know where to begin. I got this little intro thing kind of typed up, but we've been kind of chatting behind the scenes, and I kind of just want to get into it.
I mean, we can get into whatever you want to talk about today, my man.
Let me first introduce. So I got Bobby Hobart, but everybody online knows you as Bobbay, right? Or the bearded man.
Or the bearded man,
right?
Yeah, you know it.
You know what? I love it because there's a lot of pro athletes out there right now rocking the beard, but no one's repping. I mean, James Harden's been holding it down for a while, right?
He's got a great beard.
But he's not repping. He's not repping, dude. He's just scared to shave it.
He's not repping it. And also, I've never seen anybody in this world claim the bearded man emoji out there.
Oh,
I'm out there. I'm the pioneer. I'm telling everybody, this is my emoji.
Yeah.
You want to know why Apple rolled out these new emojis like 6 months ago? The bearded man was for Bobbay.
There you go, man.
Specifically.
Different colors, like whatever.
It's 100% me. But yeah, I don't, it's funny. The branding kind of just happened. I don't know where or how, but I just realized like the beard is part of me. It always has been. And I'm just going to run with it.
How long have you been growing it?
That's always a tough question because it's, I get it trimmed up every couple weeks. Okay. But I haven't been clean shaven in well over 6 years.
There you go. Okay.
My mother is definitely would rather something like you, like real close to the skin. But sorry, Mom. It's just part of my brand now, and I love the beard. I try to keep it like this middle.
No, but it's now is the time, right? This is
it.
I guess the only other time in America, at least, where the beard was cool was like 1800s, right? So now it's like
I get some of the people that'll ask me, "Oh, are you just like part of the trend?" I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, I started the trend. Okay, I am the trend. Yeah. Don't come at me acting
replace
like
trend with
me,
Bobbay.
Yeah, just put Bobbay. He started the beard trend. All right, don't tell me I'm part of the trend. I am the trend. You know what I mean?
All right, so let's get into a few of these bullet points. All the way from Chicopee, Mass.
Yes, sir. Chicopee, Massachusetts, baby.
But man, I mean, you just recently planted yourself kind of firmly in LA, right?
It's actually yesterday marked 2 years of the podcast, but it also marked 1 year since I left Massachusetts. It was weird timing. I moved out to LA, or I packed up my car August 31st of 2017. It was the 1 year marker for Purpose in the Youth, and crazy emotion, crazy timing. But I ended up making it out to LA. It would have been probably September 5th or 6th. We did about a 7-day road trip across the country,
Nice.
which was something that I had always dreamed of doing. But it'll be a full year right now. I mean, this upcoming week by Thursday or Friday, it'll be
That's
a full
amazing,
year living
man.
in LA.
Congrats.
Thank
A
you.
lot of people, even when I came out here, a lot of people come out here
Yeah.
and like 6 months later,
Yeah.
man,
I'm already seeing people do that right now.
they pack their bags and they head home.
Mutual friends that moved out right around the same time as me, they're already moving back. And it's kind of crazy because this is the place with all this opportunity. And these are people that are doing something creative. And I just don't understand.
A lot of people
I
kind of
don't
get
know.
frightened of it.
They
Some
get
people
frightened
even
of it.
stage
I
fright.
also understand it's expensive, but when you move here, you kind of know what you're signing up for.
Oh, yeah.
I had visited LA 6 times before I officially made the move. So I knew what I was walking into.
I visited one time when I was
One
like
time?
10.
Wow.
I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm moving to California.
Wow.
This is before I knew anything of
Yeah.
what do I want to be in life. I was skateboarding at that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
you know? But I was like, Mom, I'm going to move to California one day.
It's something about this place.
Yeah,
It's
just-
like a drug.
it's
You just
crazy,
once you get
man.
a taste of it. I had always wanted to live out here since I was a kid. Before I even visited LA for the first time, but that first time I visited LA when I was probably a sophomore, junior year in high school, I knew.
Was
I
it like
this is
film and TV when you were a kid? Kind of maybe.
it's definitely growing up on the East Coast. It definitely was seeing the movies. Like I remember Brink. I think that was shot at like Venice Beach.
Yeah.
All these classic movies. There was a Jesse McCartney TV show, Summerland. I think I watched when I was real young.
Any of the MTV shows.
Yeah, it was all this different stuff. But I don't know. It just from when I was a kid, there was just this idea of LA, the palm trees, the sunny weather. I was like, come from the East Coast. I was like, let me get there. I
Yeah.
need to be there. So there was always in the back of my mind. There was 2 other times in my life I thought I was going to move out here. I thought it was going to be going into college. When I didn't get into like my number one school, that didn't happen. And then I thought right when I graduated college, I didn't know what I was going to do next. I was like, maybe this is the time to move. And then I started having this idea with the podcast, and I realized that's not the best time because the podcast needs people. I don't know anybody in LA. Why am I going to move there and try to start a podcast with people?
Right.
I don't have any friends.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And then the third time,
That's
ended up being
smart.
the best time.
A little pre-plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it was a
smart.
long time coming though. It was always on my mind. I was always telling people in college, even by the time I told my parents I was finally ready to make the move, they kind of knew it was coming. I gave them the 1 year marker. I was like, 1 year from now, I moved into this apartment in Boston. I said, I'm going. I don't care if anybody's not going with me. I'll do a year here in Boston and then I'm going west. And the timing was great. I had one of my best friends move out here with me. I had some friends living here and it couldn't have been better timing. So that's super important. You got to recognize that, right? Like you don't want to jump into it too soon when it's not the right time to actually do that.
So mention podcast.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and highlight that. You are the mastermind behind Purpose in the Youth.
Purpose in the Youth. Yes, sir. The bearded mastermind.
The bearded mastermind. Why don't you give everybody a little rundown of like what Purpose in the Youth is to you? Because I can tell you what it is to me, at least from listening to it.
You know, it's crazy. So I loved at the timing of this podcast because we had been in touch for almost damn near 2 months to make this happen.
Yep.
So I appreciate you working with me. And
No,
the timing
same here,
just
man.
has been crazy. And I knew when you reached out, I was like, we're going to do this. It just needs to be the right time.
For sure. Like side note, right? When you, or sidebar.
Sorry,
Whatever they
Call
say.
it whatever.
When you move to LA, right, there's this thing you realize, maybe 6 months in, that all of a sudden, like, everybody's timing is crazy. Right? It used to be easy to lock down times with your friends back home because no one's fucking doing anything.
Yes,
man, right?
and it also, the size of this place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I live in
Drive
LA.
times.
You live in LA.
Yeah.
We live 45 miles apart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, people don't understand. On top of the LA traffic, it's a mission.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a commitment. But
so
I'm always about, I knew when you reached out to me, I was like, I'm definitely going to do this podcast. I just want to make sure that when I go to do this podcast, it's not forced, that I don't have a million other things that I'm worried about.
We appreciate it, man.
Everything worked out great. And then yesterday was the 2 year mark of the podcast. So it was like, perfect. Now
another
I'm about to go
serendipity moment.
There it is. You know, it started off as such 2 years. It started off as me just trying to find a passion and a purpose. I went to Bentley University. I went to LaSalle College in Newton for a year, and then I transferred to Bentley my sophomore, junior, senior.
One of our previous guests actually graduated from Bentley as well.
I know. I think I'd seen it again. He's a photographer.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I cannot think of his name, but I know who
John.
you're talking. Yes.
John. Yep.
So I had graduated from Bentley, and I really went into school thinking that I was going to go into the corporate world. That was why I wanted to go to a top business school, one of the best business schools in the Northeast. Graduated college, going into graduation, all of my senior year, I didn't really apply to a job. Ever since I was a kid, my parents always told me, find a passion, find a purpose, we'll always support you. And that's so much stuck with me. So I was graduating and pretty soon about to graduate, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do next. I knew I could just get a job, right? I graduated from one of the top business schools. I did well.
You can intern somewhere, right?
Anybody's going to take me. But I knew that was a meaning to an end. I knew that if I just took the first thing that came across my lap, cool, I get 6 months, a year experience, maybe a year and a half, and then I want to move to the next thing because I'm not passionate. I'm not going to jump into a job because I'm supposed to, because I need to get experience. I knew I wasn't doing that. I'm like, no, not going to happen. Not my watch. Went home for graduated college, had this idea to start a podcast, and it started August 31st, 2016, and it just became an outlet of me finding myself. I had a bunch of friends around me. One was making clothes. One was a photographer. One of my buddies I live with out here in LA, his name's Dylan Reese. He's a pop artist. He was always making music. I had seen these guys so passionate. And I was like, what is it about these guys that makes them so happy? You know, I remember I would go to hang out with these guys in like a studio space. They'd all be working on something. And I remember just opening my laptop, man, it'd be so cool.
Spreadsheet.
It would be, it'd be so cool to actually be able to open my laptop and have a project to work on. And so I had this idea, young, passionate people. I was listening to a podcast called The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. Yep. He solely inspired me because his podcast was with really great people, but they were all nothing wrong, 30s, 40s, 50s.
Right.
I was that recent college grad. I'm looking for something in my age, you know, the younger 20s or even the late.
It's all about relation.
That's it. Yeah. I need something that's going to be that I can relate to. And I just saw it. I was like, there's a market for this. I'm about to I graduated college. I don't know what my passion is. I love people. Podcasting is still it seems like it's a good market to get into in 2016.
Still is.
It still is. It still is. So I just said, let's fire it up. And I just started. And I remember the day so 2 years ago from yesterday, when I uploaded that first podcast, I told myself, if I ever want people to take me seriously, I got to treat this thing as if I'm already at the top. And ever since then, I've just kept my head down. I've been solely focused on doing anything and everything to make this project grow. And it's really just become a platform for me to really learn who I am. Like the person that has grown in 2 years, man, I wasn't coming in here with this high energy 2 years ago. I was always a very like kind of upbeat person, but I wasn't as confident and as comfortable in my skin as I am today.
That's amazing.
Like I'm ready. You want to like bring in anybody, I'll send me the pitch. I'm hitting the grand slam. Like I'm not the smartest. I wasn't the smartest in school. There's a lot of flaws that I need to work on myself, but I'm confident and I believe that I can push myself to great things whenever the opportunity arises. Like I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just been it really just, the one thing that I want people to recognize is it all comes down to why you started this podcast, as we were just talking about earlier. It was like you guys wanted to add more content to what you guys are already doing. Yep. So I started this podcast trying to find myself. I didn't start this and you didn't start podcasting because, I want to make a lot of money. Oh, this is going to be...
Time out. It's not happening.
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people get it mixed up and they start for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And they don't realize how much work is going to have to go in to finally make that dollar bill.
Yeah,
it's like I'm 2 years in and I haven't made $1.
So it's funny. You say you're 2 years in and you just hit episode 100?
It'll be 100 this week.
I think 100 comes out by the time this is out.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be past
so when will this come out?
A couple weeks from now.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, so
this you'll
be over 100.
Over 100.
Right? So for the people out there that don't understand what it takes to make 100 of these, I mean, like, so the process that we started was we're like, okay, we want to do a podcast.
Yep.
We're going to focus it around things that our agency focuses on, but we want to bring in cool guests, things like that. Let's do one once a month.
Yep.
We did one, like we started out 2 of them once a month. We just did month 1, month 2. It was like good for like a week and then crickets. Yeah. Because content is it's like a fire hose, right?
Speed.
So then we're like, okay, let's speed it up. Let's step it up. We want to go every 2 weeks. So we're like, all right, we can do it every 2 weeks. That's no problem. And at this point, we were just doing audio. just audio in 2 weeks, man, it was like already like, okay, we're in a blender because now we have to think of double the amount of topics in a month or you know, whatever. So then I had the crazy idea. I'm like, Andrew, people are starting to really kind of gravitate towards the podcast. Why don't we do one once a week so we keep it fresh? It keeps our social fresh. And he's like, I don't know, man. And I was like, oh, well, hold on. I want to add video.
Not only are we going to go weekly, we're going to add video.
And then he's
content.
like, okay, so how can we do this with one camera? And I'm like, no. I was like, dude, we're going to do multi-camera. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, we're going, like, if we're going to go for this, we got to go for
big,
it, man. But the amount of time it takes to produce this thing, you know, it's now me and my teammate, Oz, we're producing it together. And together, it takes us still like 15 hours, you know? But people out there don't realize it, man. They think it's just like you flip a switch and then all of a sudden, you know.
Then it's there. But it does take, and that's something I'm still struggling with today.
That's not even behind the scenes. That's not even the like research for, you know.
So that's something that I'm still struggling with on trying to get better is the time that it takes me to produce, right? Like I want to get it down even to less, but I'm also realizing that I like the way I'm rolling things out. I like, you know, I build out these big outlines on my website. Yeah. And I like because now I can go back and I have something as a guide if I ever need to do a callback to a certain episode. So, for example, there was a podcast that I had with Blake Pinsker. He is the brand director or director of brand for Movement. Movement watches, Movement everything.
Saw that. Yep.
Huge brand, right? Right now, they just got acquired for $100 million. Big time for them, right? And I wanted to like put a post as a tribute to show like congratulations to him because he was on the podcast. And I was like, boom, I already have the outline. So I went back to my outline, looked at the entire outline of the podcast. I don't remember every conversation, but I could find, experience working with Movement. 39 minutes in, went to the 39-minute marker. Within 3 minutes, I found the clip that I needed and I posted it. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but the reference is there for when I need it. So, you know, people see most of the podcasts I put out are about an hour and a half. I try to do an hour, never happens.
It's hard.
I think hours like a great, like, it's like giving people a piece of content as consumption. Like, here's just an hour of your time. Just hit play and you'll be done in an hour. And I've quickly realized, especially in moments like this, when you bring people in, this could be a once in a lifetime conversation. I don't want to cut it short,
right?
Because I don't want to produce it,
right?
Because I don't want to spend an extra hour or two. If the long as the guest has time, I'm going. We're just gonna roll with it. But you know, to summarize it, it's like the research process is not even. I don't even know how to describe it. My head's always on a swivel. I'm always looking for the next story. If I come across somebody, I'll reach out to them via email, DM, or sometimes mutual friends will connect me and the person. And then, you know, we figure out a time, when's going to work best. Cool. I don't do any of like the real research until it's confirmed because I'm not wasting my time and then they back out. So confirm, we're going to do this on a Thursday. Cool. Then I'll spend, depending on the guest, I mean, it could be anywhere from like an hour and a half to 3 hours. Very, very few I've done maybe 4 hours of research. And that's only because I'll watch interviews and that takes a little bit of time. But most it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours of research. Then that day they're going to come in. I'm prepping about an hour out, just turning my bedroom into a studio.
Which is amazing. We're going to link that behind the scenes.
Please. There's a clip I can send
that,
you.
Man, because that's amazing.
You know, then I have to turn the bedroom into the studio. My homie comes in, Kirk. He shoots BTS. We do a little like couple minute segment about who the guest is coming in. Guests will come in. I got to prep them, spend 15, 20 minutes talking to them about the process, why I started Purpose in the Youth. They come in, we get ready for it. They record the podcast. They leave. Then there's the post-production. Then I'm re-listening to the entire episode. I'm jotting down notes of the outline. Then I'm taking that. And man, it's so crazy. Then
the re-listening part is nuts, right?
I hate it. I hate listening to myself talk.
It's crazy.
Then I'm writing out. So I take that outline. Then I'm writing out an intro. I'm writing out an outro. I'm recording the intro. I'm recording the outro. I'm taking the audio file. I'm syncing it to the visuals. Then from the outline, I'm pulling out 6 or 7 clips that I'm going to roll out once a day for that week.
Yep.
Or for that week, 7 days. So
you primarily focus on Instagram and YouTube?
Yes. And so then I make all those clips. That's a whole process in itself. Then the rollout day, then it's posting on Instagram. It's, every episode really, as we were just talking about before, it's definitely 10 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more. It goes by quick and I'm I've gotten to, it was harder in the beginning.
Sure.
When you're in like episode, at least for me, when I was at episode like 15, 16, I'm like, damn. And I wasn't even doing video at the time. I was just doing audio. I didn't even get into visuals until I was 44 in. And man, I was like, this is a lot of work. And then I got the video aspect in. I was like, oh, this is a lot of work. But you just do it. And time ends up being, it just flows. You know, my prep day is always Monday. Monday's the day I designate to prepping for the Wednesday.
Do you have
pod.
a set schedule?
Pretty much. I mean, that's the beauty of, I literally drive Uber full time. That's how
we're going to get into that in a second.
We'll get into everything. I literally drive Uber full time. So the benefit of that is that I make my own schedule. I literally drove 2 people on the way here today.
Smart.
To make a little
That's
bit
smart,
money,
man.
Right? Got to make a little bit of money along the way.
That's smart.
But so I roll out on Wednesdays, and I've just designated Monday, which is like the best day of the week to do that type of prep, because I'm never doing podcasts on Monday for the most part. It's like the day of the week where everyone's kind of like back in the grind. I just sit in my house for the entire day, re-listen, do all that stuff, and then roll it out on Wednesdays. But it is a process. My roommates hate it sometimes when I'm there on Mondays because I'm the people's person.
Right.
I don't like being in my room for 10 hours on that day to get the shit done.
Right.
But I do it because I have to get it done.
You got to get it done, yeah.
But I'm just like, by like 7, 8 p.m., I'm like, yo, what's up, guys? Like, what are we doing?
You're all
what are we
wired.
doing?
Yeah,
I'm so wired up because I'm such a people's person.
Yeah,
like, dude, I can't sit here for this long of time. It kills me, but it's a process. It definitely is a process.
So the Uber thing is super interesting, right? So
definitely interesting.
And I'm sure you've had thoughts of doing like 2018's taxi cab confessions.
Oh, I've already, the idea's already been thought about. There's just so many legality issues.
Right now we are sitting in front of one of the top 2%.
Yeah, you did your research, man. I appreciate that.
In the world, man.
Top 2%.
First off, from Uber's standpoint, you know, we're a marketing agency, so branding and things like that come natural to us. But Uber's ability to recognize that and in the way they did it is amazing. As a company. Yeah, it's really smart because it just made you an advocate for them to get better drivers. I made a whole YouTube thing. I didn't even,
I didn't do that. They didn't send me that box thinking, oh, this kid's going to make YouTube.
Right.
But then
somebody in marketing probably did.
They probably did the research. Like, there's this kid, he's doing podcasting, sent him this thing. But yeah, you're right, because then I ended up rolling out a podcast on it. I did a YouTube video only because my fans or followers or friends, they love this whole Uber world. And I've just realized that it's part of me. It's my full-time job. I'm going to run with it and show people that the other side, you know, this is the podcast side and then this is the Uber side. And people love the content.
It gets a bad rap first off, right? Because people are like the taxi cab driver, it's not a real job, whatever people want to say. Yeah. But you're making money. You've got your own schedule. You're, for the most part, being an entrepreneur. It's the same thing as setting up a franchise business. Definitely. In any other market, right?
That's it.
But yeah, just your ability to take that and really like put the positive side of it to show everybody is amazing.
You got to have fun with it. And, you know, when I got the package, it was crazy because for the longest time, I've just been claiming as like a joke, I'm the world's favorite Uber driver. You know, I'm the best in the business. The bearded man, favorite bearded man, favorite Uber driver. And then I had gone home or back to LA from visiting home for like 2 weeks. And I have this package and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's from Uber. And I haven't gotten a package from Uber in the 3 years that I've been with them.
Maybe like the original sticker.
Yeah, they sent me the sticker in the mail. Oh, sick. Yeah, welcome to Uber. Put this on your car. I'm like, okay, sick. And then I'm opening up this box and it's this whole experience. And then I realized they had sent me this because of being a top 2% in the world. Yeah.
It's like, that's based off your ratings?
Based off of comments, all that stuff. I've done over 13,000 rides to give people some perspective. Crazy, so a lot of rides. Just 2 weekends ago, this is not a flex, but straight up, 2 weekends ago, I just hit 7,000 5-star rides.
Wow.
You know, I had a couple when I first got the box. I didn't even think about doing the YouTube video or the podcast about it. I just put up like an Instagram story, like 3 clips of me unfolding the box, and I actually had a couple people chime in, and they surprised me because it wasn't like, haha, this is sick. I had a couple people say that, but there was one person specifically that DM'd me and he was like, yo, I don't know if you realize how much this says about you, but whatever you got going on, whatever your personality, you need to like recognize that this is going to take you far. And I didn't expect this person to chime in on it. And I was like, man, he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to chime in at all. He could have just clicked on through. But the fact that he did that, I appreciate it. And I also maybe like take a step back and, okay, as much of it as I'm like joking, I'm like, oh, this is the Uber life. Haha, I got the sticker. It's like, man, that's actually true. It does say a lot about me. And I'm proud to tell people I am the top 2% because it's not about, people always say, oh, how do you like driving around people all day? Like, don't you hate being in LA traffic?
You're a people dude, man.
I'm a people's person.
Conversations
That's what I tell
all day
people.
long.
I said, the driving's not the part. It's getting people in. It's that time with them.
Yeah.
Some people you don't talk to. Some people you get right into it. I mean, there's no barrier. People, how's your day going? Oh, and the X, Y, and Z. And
it either goes down one road or the other.
There's no
right?
filter. There's no like. It taught me how to skip small talk.
Nice.
I can get right on into it with people, and I mean, I'm just super thankful for the platform because it's allowed me to have a vision for what I want and to be solely focused on podcasting, building a YouTube brand, building my personality out, jumping on opportunities when they present themselves. But it's allowed me to do that because if I didn't have that, I still would have found a way to make all this work, but that flexibility, man.
Yeah,
it's a game changer.
It's priceless. It's priceless.
It's a game changer because I can leave here today and then go work.
Yeah.
And use that money to
turn it
invest.
on, turn it off, whatever.
Turn it on, turn it off as opportunities. And you end up getting really good with time management and you really start assessing, I've gotten a lot better at saying no to things because what's the value?
Right.
Like how, and as we were talking about before, I love that we're here on a Labor Day week and we're out here just making content right now on a Saturday, middle of the day.
It's not the content. It's not the content crib.
No, not the content crib. Not the content crib. But this is when this stuff happens. People act like people get successful just out of the blue. It's like no, it's the ones that continue to show up every single day. This is not a Monday through Friday grind. This is literally every single day. And yes, you have to have balance. You have to have fun and all that stuff. But this doesn't work to me. I love this stuff.
Yeah, same here.
So it's different when you find that thing that you enjoy. It's not work. So you'll do it every single day.
Yep.
If I could get to the point where I'm podcasting every single day, bringing guests every single day,
build that team out, man.
It's going to happen. Life's going to be bliss when that happens. But you just gotta. I don't even know how I got to this, but you just have to find something that it doesn't feel like work. But you all and go out and have fun. And
I'd be interested to interview some of the other top 2% Uber drivers to see what their outlook on life is and how they treat it because it's probably very similar to how yours is.
I'm
not even a top 2% rider, man. And
no,
I've never done anything wrong in an
After
Uber.
this, I'll just pick you up and drop you off like 100 times. We'll just boost your rating up. Uber will never know.
I think it's funny because I got a bad rating for I guess I accidentally slammed some guy's door one time. Jesus. I don't even remember. I mean, I don't usually slam car doors because I hate when people do it to mine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. But
some people just get real anal about this stuff. So
yeah.
I don't care. I'm giving you 5 stars unless you're a dick. I'm 5 stars every time.
Yeah.
Screw this guy. 5 stars. It's the Uber life. It's the Uber life.
Hashtag Uber life.
Hashtag Uber life.
All right. So let's jump back into the podcast real quick. What have you taken away from interviewing that 100 guests aside from like your self-confidence and your self-branding and the things that you've built internally?
Away from people?
But what have you learned? I think there's probably something that these people all have in common, right? At some point.
I think the big takeaway is that everybody has a story. There was one podcast within the last 20. I won't say the person's name, but I brought this person in just thinking it was another podcast. I just did the research, had the outline, thought this was going to be really dope. The podcast went great, but during the podcast, we're talking about this person's childhood and brings up some really serious stuff about suicide, about molesting, and it really caught me off guard because I brought this person in, just thought another podcast. I still treated every podcast the same, but it was a moment of holy shit. You don't know somebody's story until you start asking questions.
Yeah.
And from the outside looking in, people might look super happy, but on the inside, there's another person. So I think the podcast has taught me a lot about, and Uber too combined. I know we're not going to go into the Uber world, but it's both. Every person has a story to tell, and you have to be very gentle with people because something that I could say to you just might be as a joke could really personally hurt somebody. And I've just learned how to navigate a conversation. I can just tell by when something is uncomfortable and when I should pull away or when I should dig deeper or what makes somebody fired up. I mean, that's the thing. It's all these guests have found or are in the process of finding that thing or have a sense of direction. I've been very fortunate that even the guests that I'm kind of skeptical of, I think this is it should be a good story. There is a really good story. And the passion is, man, there's nothing better. And I'm sure you can agree with this. There is nothing better than having a conversation with somebody that's actually passionate about what they do.
Yeah. You can tell the difference.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's a podcast I had with, his name's Rhetoric. He's a DJ for Logic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget it. It was so well put. He's like, I don't care what your passion is. I don't care if you love building cardboard box. If you can tell me and explain to me why this is the best cardboard in the world, where you got the material from, how you built this, everything about that cardboard box, you're the person I want to be around because that's passion, that energy, that sense of I know what I want to do and this is what I'm doing versus the person that's just lost and keeps complaining. Oh, I need a new job. Oh, this isn't working.
Yeah.
But they're not doing anything to change their life. They're just bullshitting. And it's not easy. I get it. It's not easy. It's not. I came from that place 2 years ago where I didn't have everything figured out, but I damn well made a decision. I need to figure out my shit. Going out every weekend like I was in college, which was a great time, that's not going to help me. It's only going to distract me from finding the thing. But I don't even know. I'm just rambling at this point. But
no, man.
I just get so passionate because I just want to be around passionate people. I want to see people succeed. And the podcast has given me the vehicle to learn how to navigate conversations and to build and meet amazing people. And to come to places like this, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't getting invited on podcasts 2 years ago. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody wanted to talk to me. And just to be here today, like I was fired up this morning knowing that I was coming here today. I was like, I can't wait. I don't even know how this is going to go. You had sent me the outline of like what we're going to talk about. I was like, dude, I don't care. You're going to tell me we're going to talk about the beach for a day, for the entire podcast. And
let's get into that.
Yeah. The beach, the LA beach. Yeah. You live in Redondo Beach. You're living a good life.
It took me a while to get there, man.
I bet there's levels to LA.
Yeah,
there's levels.
Yeah,
You've been here 10 years, right? So it's
almost 10 years.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't been living on Redondo.
No, actually, it's funny. And I wanted to get into this at some point. I listened to your first group pod, which, by the way, is amazing as a concept.
Thank you.
That's an awesome concept.
Thank you.
And we've thought about doing something similar to that.
Yeah,
it's a really, really cool concept.
Yeah.
So shout out to the group
episode.
Yeah.
We did the first one. I just did my second one a couple nights ago, so I'm excited to do that.
We'll link that
somewhere. In the world of the content. But truthfully, I'll tell you how I got the idea. Drama, Short Story Long podcast.
Yep.
He, for his 100th episode, he did like this. I forget, it was Rob Dyrdek, and there was two other guests that he had, and it was just like he called it the Super Pod for his episode 100. Great concept, and I loved it. And it inspired me because I was like, man, this is such a great idea.
Gary does a similar.
Yeah,
they do a similar.
He also rolled out something too, and
he flexes his muscles with his guests a little bit.
For the longest time, I was always focused on one guest at a time. Episode 1, 2, 5, 6, 100, whatever. But I was like, man, there's another world of podcasting content when you bring in guests and you talk about like a certain subject or a certain topic.
Yeah.
So that was that. I wanted a starting point. I had all my buddies that we had all moved to LA as you heard.
Yep.
And I was like, this is a cool concept. The next one I'm rolling out is 3 of my homies that have all been on the pod separately. They're on a nationwide tour together.
Yep, saw that.
Boom. Great package. We'll do like a 3-artist tour, a nationwide touring act. And we just talk about everything within music and how they got started and what it's like to tour the nation. And then one day I'd like to get 3 graphic designers, 3 talent managers, and try to just add more content into the mix. But there's a different chemistry when it's the group of people, right? Definitely. Yeah. And I would love to, because all the people that the two that I've done so far, they all known each other. So we just fire up the mics and we get going. But I'm interested for the day when I can bring in 3 separate people and get into it.
Yeah.
Because then it's really a different conversation.
Uncharted territory.
Yeah. Man. But it's got to make sense because it's harder with timing, scheduling.
Sure.
And then you got to make sure, depending on who the guests are, you got to show them the value and I don't want them to think it's gonna be a waste of their time.
Right.
But I want to get into more of those. I want to get to the point where I can do. It's gonna be a little bit more time until I get there when I can. If I get to the point living off this type of content is roll out content 3 times a week. Maybe every Wednesday will definitely be an episode. Maybe every Friday roll out a group episode, and then maybe every other.
You ever check out The Ringer? That's Bill
bit.
Simmons.
Yeah, a little bit. I think one of my
Boston,
roommates.
ESPN,
Boss out the Boston.
So The Ringer, it's similar to like Gizmodo, where it's just like a network blog type thing, but they have like 30 different it's a podcast network.
I mean, that's the genius thing is that you got to just look at, once you start building this platform as podcasting, try to find other stuff to do. So I've recently started incorporating solo pods where I just talk about different subjects, different topics, or incorporating my BTS that my homie Kirk shoots, taking the audio and putting that out as a podcast because somebody wants to listen to that. You know? So
I think the interesting point about podcasts, and like my partner Andrew, who's usually here, we did I think it was like, I don't know, man, probably like the first 15 or 16 episodes where it was just him and I just talking about agency stuff, marketing stuff. It was really kind of like super niched in that direction. Bringing in guests is a whole different dynamic, right?
Especially when you got somebody you're just bouncing ideas at. Because you guys can like talk about it before. And then you just go in and it's an easier conversation because you're with somebody so you just fire it up.
I don't remember where I heard it, but having guests is free content. Right, because honestly, I could just sit here and fire off questions, and you're going to tell your story. Right,
it's easier, and it also helps you build the brand. Because if you're having new guests every week, you hope that they're going to post
double
it somewhere.
The exposure, hopefully.
It's just it builds your name bigger. So there's a benefit of doing it. There's obviously the harder part of scheduling and trying to before you get to the scheduling, selling it without selling it, bringing them in, and then it ends up being a great way to build because if they post about it. That's all new listeners. And it's all natural, organic, So
and for us, it's a way to reach out to new people, to like-minded people, just to bring more value to clients that we have on the other side of our business.
Definitely.
So we use it as like a big creative outlet.
Yeah, so
hopefully we'll get to that group episode, man. But going back to that, like I got to LA, similar story. Like I found an apartment. I was the first one here. Planted the flag, and
Solo
then
dolo.
3 of my homies came in, crashed, and we were in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
Just
doing whatever you got to do to get by.
Spaghetti, whatever you could imagine, man. Yeah, just for like the first 6 to 8 months while we were all just trying to find jobs.
Where did you live
when
you first got here?
We actually landed in Playa Vista, which it's not the way it is now. Playa is like a really nice
place. I heard
place.
10 years ago.
So about 10 years ago, it wasn't sketch, but it wasn't developed. There was nothing there. There was just a bunch of empty buildings and warehouses.
Too bad you didn't buy then. You'd be
right. Had no money, man. I couldn't even buy chicken.
I know. I hear you. I got super lucky moving out here because I moved out here with 2 buddies. So I would quickly realize how fortunate I was to live with people, just even one person or 2 people that I know. And we chose to live all the way out in the valley, probably about 35 miles north of where we are right now in El Segundo. But it worked out because it's cheaper rent. My buddy at the time was working at Burbank Airport, so he needed to be close by. We needed a house for space.
Right.
And
it's hard to find them on the
hard to find. It was either Glendale, Sun Valley, where we live now, or we had found another one in Van Nuys. And the Van Nuys one didn't work, and we just ended up going to the one in Sun Valley, and it ended up being the best case scenario. It's right off the 5.
Nice.
I pretty much live in Burbank, but I don't pay the rent in Burbank. Like that same house I live in now in Burbank would be double the rent.
Wow, Burbank's like that.
It's unbelievable. It's expensive. Burbank in the valley is definitely more expensive than a lot of the places, but moving to LA, I always tell people about that. You gotta come out here with a vision, and you gotta be ready to work. And if you can come out here with one person, have one shoulder to lean on, it makes
a difference.
All the difference.
I had I actually turned down. I graduated, had a job offer in Orlando.
Wow.
And actually it was full-time, work for the university basically at UCF. Full-time benefits, it was a good corporate-y type, university job. And then I got a offer out here to work at a studio for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I was just like, Mom, Dad, I got to go to California.
Do this.
I got to do it. Yeah. And I didn't do the 7-day drive, which I wish I did.
Yeah.
I did the 48-hour drive or something like that. It was me and a buddy. He didn't stay. He just came with me for the trip. Mm-hmm. And we literally we took the 10 all the way from Florida to California.
Wow.
In 48 hours or something like that.
We just hauling ass.
We were just no, we just stopped to eat. That was it. Bathroom.
For me, ever since I was a kid of wanting to move to LA, that was just part of the thing.
Man,
I was like, okay, I'm moving to
now
LA,
I'm scarred.
but I need to road trip out. Like I need to do this like crazy road trip and stop everywhere just because that was always part of the plan. And when we're sleeping in my car for 5 of the 7 nights, I was like, this is not.
You actually slept in the car?
Slept in my car.
Damn. That's crazy.
We would cock the seats back all the way, cuddle up. We had built. Well, oh my God, we had a science down. We had blankets for the windows. We had my poster at the time as the cover for the windshield. And a major tip, if you're road tripping, shout out to my man Evan Healy who did the road trip with me. He just road tripped out here with me and then flew back.
Yeah, that's what my buddy did too.
So, but my man Evan Healy was a smart man. So, major tip, if anybody road trips and you're going to sleep in your car, sleep in a Walmart parking lot. Why? Most Walmarts are 24/7. So if you ever need something in the middle of the night, drink, food, something, brush your teeth, bathroom, right there. The parking lots are all lit up. You can find little spots in the parking lots that you can like tuck yourself in the corner and kind of be away from people. They usually have security.
Lights are on all the time, right?
They have lights all the time, but that's why you do the barricade inside your car. Yeah. There's usually a security service 24/7, so you feel safe. And they're all over the country. That's the best piece of advice if you're road tripping. Find a Walmart parking lot, park your car, and you got everything you need. Because if you got to get food,
it's 24 hours. Yeah,
you walk right in.
It's hard to find a Walmart on this side of LA.
Yeah, you definitely hard to find in LA. But when you'd be surprised when you're driving across the country, you'd randomly just find them.
You should make a map of pin all the Walmarts.
All of the Walmarts?
That you guys hung out at.
I'll sell it as a PDF. $5 a pop. I'll give you guys the Walmart PDF.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So what's been the biggest challenge of like the podcast? Is it like, and let me frame it around. Mm-hmm. Obviously the whole thing is a challenge. Production's a challenge. Is it like finding guests? Obviously I guess the higher it goes, the more you go, the easier it
gets easier.
Yeah. Is it the learning curve of like taking on a whole new medium that you've never done, like video, audio, things like that?
Yeah. I've definitely I've enjoyed the whole process of kind of just learning as I went. Yep. And of course that was a challenge, like trying to figure out. I've definitely figured out how I want every conversation to go, and I know my intros, my outros. I've figured out my process. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm still learning. Don't get me wrong. Right. I'm not comfortable, but I'm still learning. But I've definitely figured out the process. The challenge is guests. Is sometimes I have all this inbound traffic and the scheduling's great, but then literally 2 weeks ago I didn't have a guest. I didn't have an episode, and I felt so lost.
I saw that you apologized.
I felt so lost, dude. And it's funny.
I wish we did this before. I would have just come and hung out, man.
It's like, I know that nobody woke up on that Wednesday morning and was like, oh my God, there's no podcast. Like, I know nobody cared.
Stick a pin in that. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Go ahead.
I will. But it was a personal thing for me because I had told myself when I started back to that first day, weekly podcast. And I had been consistent through. There was one time I missed a week. It was actually Thanksgiving. It was that week. It was Thanksgiving was on a Thursday. So within the first 2 months of podcasting, I didn't have one for that Wednesday. I was like, nobody gives a shit. Like, I'm still so new. And then after that, I didn't miss a week. I took 2 weeks off moving to LA, put the podcast on pause, got to LA, fired it back up, didn't take any breaks, consistent all the way through. Then I went back home to Massachusetts, back in early July, took a pause on it for a week, wanted to go home. I was home for a wedding, saw family and friends. I was like, I'm not spending that 10 hours or whatever to produce the podcast. I just want to have fun. And then I didn't have one, and I didn't have an excuse. And I just literally told people, I was surprised. There was actually a lot of good feedback. People were just like, dude, it's like.
But you made a podcast when you didn't have a podcast.
Yeah.
You put that clip out.
Yeah, I know.
Awesome.
That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done. But the challenge has always been of just bringing in guests, finding the right people, timing, and as long as I have an inbound traffic, and I think I have a couple weeks of just inbound right now, as long as I have that inbound, I'm so much more at like just living. I'm good because I know next week I'm doing a podcast with this person. Week after that, I have this 2 pods that are rolling out. Content's there to roll. Now I'm just living my life and trying to create other stuff. But there are times when I'm 6 days out from producing a podcast and I don't have one lined up, and I'm stressing, and all day long while I'm bouncing, still, I'm not going to sit in my room all day waiting for people to respond to me.
Right.
I'm like, Ubering, stop, spend 20 minutes, send DMs, follow up, go back to Uber, thinking about it, So I think the hardest struggle has been just always finding guests, because I understood the learning process of me podcasting is just going to take time.
Yep.
I'm not going to really stress about it. And it still is such a work in progress, but it's for sure just been getting in the right guests and trying to make sure that timing is great, because you want to stay consistent, and it's not easy. It definitely isn't easy. It still isn't. But as you get farther into it, I think people recognize how serious you're taking it, and you get a couple bigger guests, and then you can use that to leverage another bigger guest, and then you build it up so that you kind of hope that that's the sell already. You don't even really have to pitch it. You're just like, hey, I had X, Y, and Z on it. Like, are you interested? And you hope that people are going to still want to do it, and some people won't. But it's definitely just been getting guests.
Yeah, it's been a challenge for us, because we try to frame stuff up that, because we are a marketing agency on the other side, but we do content creation and marketing. We try to frame it up so at least it touches a little bit. Yeah. Luckily, everything needs marketing, so we can at least spin it back. So, how's your marketing chops?
Everything is marketing.
Yeah, so we can always spin it back. But the thing that I've wanted to bring value to is just bringing other stories similar to what you were talking about earlier. But going back to that pin, let's pull it out. So 2 weeks ago, we had a similar situation.
I saw that.
We didn't run out of guests. We had like 4 actually in the queue we recorded.
Wow, okay.
So we just, because of our client work, we literally couldn't get to production. We couldn't get to the production of it. So we had to stop.
That's a tough thing about doing the podcast, because you want to post weekly. That's like a goal. But in what you're doing right now, 2-man team, you guys are pretty much all in on it. It's hard to just step back and look at what you're doing and how do we make changes, because you're always recording, you're always reaching out to guests. It's like there's never a proper time to step back,
kind of assess
what you're doing, because you're producing every 6 days. You're getting ready for the next
thing. The good thing is, and this is actually, let's go into that marketing queue. So we do the whole, like, we produce pillar content. So our podcast is pillar content. It starts at YouTube, then we strip the audio, and that goes out to the audio, right?
That's the way to
then
do
we
it.
get the clips, similar
Instagram,
to like how you broke it down. Yeah. So we had
thing.
such an arsenal of past podcasts. So in that 2-week gap, we were able to just pull other stuff that we never got a chance to use and repost it. So
that's
for all you out there who were thinking.
I definitely should have done that.
Yeah,
and
think about your pillar content.
Yeah, definitely should have done that.
It's the way to roll.
Yeah.
So you do all the work, and then you have all this stuff that you can just eat off of.
But that's what you got to do. That's the thing, right? You have to take, and that's one of the big lessons I learned from Gary Vee, is you have to take that one piece of content and cut it up.
Yeah,
and I don't pay attention as much as I used to. I used to live and breathe.
That's good,
Gary.
man. You know what? Because he always says
that.
If you're leaving me, that means I did my job.
And I never understood that. And I was like, I'm never going to leave you, Gary. I'm going to watch every single Daily V. And then when I really started to push myself and start creating, I was like, I don't have time. Yeah. I just need to create. And but one of the big things I always took away from him was the idea of take that one piece of content and give people pills of it.
Yep.
So that, it's hard to get people to click on an hour and a half long podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if I can sell you on 60 seconds on an Instagram post, maybe you'll be interested to want to hear more and then click in. So it is smart.
You become a publication on top of,
I'm like my own media agency.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's
literally like the own agency.
Yep.
But it's all high, man. I love doing this stuff.
No, that's amazing. It's amazing. You can see, you can see the passion that you bring. Yeah. Just even when you say you don't talk a lot to guests, but in your interviews, you can see the passion. Yeah. Because you're genuinely interested in what they have to say.
Well, see, there's the thing. You have to, and there's definitely been, the best podcasts are when I'm bringing the guests that I'm super interested by. Like I'm really excited because there's somebody that's inspired me. Rhetoric that I was talking about, drama, or there's so many podcast guests that I've had that I'm so fired up for this podcast that it's a high. That everything else is just bliss right now, and I'm so focused on this conversation. But that's where the best content comes out, because there have been so many times where I just do a Q&A. When I first was starting, I wasn't really soaking into the conversation. I would ask a question, they'd spit back, and I could have followed up and said, well, tell me more. And I'd just be like, okay, tell me about this. So
yeah,
there's a learning process. But
sometimes it just goes that way too.
Yeah. And there's some guests, even recent guests, that I have all these questions right now, and it's like, I just hit start and they just fire up. They have so much to say. They're like, I got to tell you about this. And they'll stop.
I know, dude, I skipped about 30 questions.
They'll stop and be like, should I stop now? I'm like, keep it going.
Yeah.
I love this. I'm all in on it. So, you just have fun with it. You just learn as you go and kind of just see where it takes you.
It's cool, man. Do you ever suffer from FOMO? That was like a directed question, but that's something I always want to ask people because
I used to.
The content hose is so fast, and like if you see like
fear of missing out because of going out with friends, or
that's I think that's different because that's part of your drive.
Yeah.
But I think like if you see something, let's just like Gary Vee's doing it. He's a great example, right?
Yeah.
He does all this shit because he has a
FOMO that I'm not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, it's comparing, right?
Sure.
So I will have those moments. I've gotten better at it. I'll have those moments where I see somebody have a big podcast, a big guest on their show, and I'm like, fuck, why don't I have that guest? And then I'm like, okay, I've only been doing this for now 2 years. That is somebody that has been doing entertainment for 10 plus years. How in the world
Joe Rogan.
do I, right? Like, how in the world do I expect to have a guest like that when I'm still so new to it?
So you recognize it and you're like,
I recognize it. I don't deserve it. So I've gotten better at not trying to consume as much content. Well, I just don't allow myself to compare. And there was a quote I read recently about don't feel bad about yourself when you see other people succeed. Get inspired. Get inspired to see other people succeed, whether it's your friends or people you don't follow online. Like, see that if they can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens for me is I have these little successes or little pieces of content that I put out or guests that I get on the show. And I'm like, see, you just have to keep going. Like, you're going to get to the bigger guests.
Yep.
One day I will have Gary on the podcast. I don't know when, and I'm not worried about when it's going to happen, but when the timing happens, I won't be surprised because I know I worked my ass off to get there. Should he be on the podcast next week? I would love it. But do I think it actually makes sense? No. And I also recognize when the timing isn't right for people, it's better to wait.
Yeah.
Because then we both grow. So the guests, and by the time this roll out, it already happened. The guest that I have for episode 100 is Jacob Owens. Huge film guy.
I'm a
amazing
fan.
music video guy, whatever, right? I reached out to that dude in January.
Wow.
Hey, man, want to get you on the podcast? He said, yeah, I'm down. I'm in Arizona right now. He's half and half, Arizona and LA. He's like, yeah, man, let's do it. I'm in Arizona for the next 3-4 months. When I'm in LA after that, we can do it. 3-4 months go by. It's now June. I see that he's in LA. I follow up. Hey, man, I'm not sure if you're still interested, but love to do it. Yeah, let me see how this week pans out. I'm about to leave for Europe in 10 days. If we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. Doesn't happen. He goes to Europe. I'm like, fuck, I wanted to get him on the podcast. Episode 90 rolls up. I'm like, all right. I don't really care about the numbers, but I knew 100. I got to have something that
that's
something. It's a big number. We're like 5 weeks out, and I see, we're even less than that. We're at like an episode 97 rolling out. I have 2 or 3 people in my mind of who I think I can make it happen. And I saw that he was in LA again. I'm like, man, I hope to God he can do this podcast right now. So I emailed him again. It's like, yeah, man, next Sunday, which was like 10 days out. I was like, okay, it works out great because I'm going to miss this week coming up for the podcast. And if he says yes, it'll give me a week to prep his. And then it worked out. And then he ended up being episode 100. So you got to recognize timing. And although something might not happen right now, it might be better. You can't understand why it's going to be better right now. I can't tell you that because this podcast isn't happening right now. It's going to happen in a couple months, how that's going to help you, but just have a feeling or just kind of promise yourself it's going to be better that happens later down the road. And then it worked out because if I didn't have him, I would have still had a guest for episode 100, but it wouldn't have meant as much.
Yeah.
And it was somebody like him I had been watching for years. I'm not even a filmmaker, but I love his outlook on life. I love his hustle. I love his drive. I think he is the hardest working person I've had on the podcast, without a doubt, because he just is relentless.
Yeah, the dude's 24/7.
Dude,
him and the media team, the Buff Nerds.
Time.
Yeah.
There's not a downtime for him.
Yeah.
So, I just don't, going back to the question, I just don't allow myself to compare anymore. And I get fired up when I see other people succeed. Do I wish I was them? Absolutely. Do I wish I had that guest on my show? Absolutely. But I know that with time, I'll get these guests on my show. And if they can succeed, I can too. And I just have to keep doing it. But people, there was a point definitely when I was early on, when I wasn't getting the big time guests, and I'm still not getting big time guests. I'm not flexing wherever angle you're looking at me. You just have to do it, and you have to know that you got to build something up before you expect people to take time out of their busy day to do it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you taking your time today.
All day.
It's a Saturday, man.
All day. And like I said, I appreciate you guys you specifically working with me, because I know felt like such a dick too. I was like,
no, it's funny.
I didn't have a definite time for you. I didn't have a definite time, and I was just like, I just want to make sure that when I come in to do this podcast, I'm not stressing about, because I knew I was doing the 2-year documentary. Yep. Nobody knew about it. I knew that was going to take a lot of time. I was worried about getting episode 100. And that's the other thing, is like, you really got to just assess, and you have to worry about yourself.
Right. And well, I think just as reaching out, like, you have all those thoughts. You thought you were being a dick to us, but you won't, like, I wasn't thinking about all the things that you had coming up. I'm like, oh man, I just told this guy like 2 weekends in a row that I can't do it. No. He's going to be like, oh, I'm out.
No, I would never be out. Once again, timing, because I recognize too, it's like you said you had other things, and I was also emailing you like 24 hours out, which is stupid. I looked like such an asshole, but I was like, maybe he'll be able to work. And if
this guy can Uber, he can Instagram on Uber, but he can't.
But that's the thing. So that was that's the hardest thing too. Is, well, going back to kind of what I was just saying, it's like people have to recognize you have to do what is best for you.
Yeah,
and
of course,
Uber, for instance, a lot of people are like, well, just go out, go do something with us. You can work whenever you want. It's like, yeah. Are you paying my bills?
Yeah, no kidding.
You're not paying my bills. You're not paying my college loans. You're not paying my rent. You're not investing in all this equipment. Yeah. You write me a check. You want me to come on? Write me a check, and I'll come out. Like, which I'll never let somebody do. But just to show examples. Yeah. So, I appreciated you specifically cooperating with me, and I figured, I was like, he's probably gonna think I'm a dick because he's seeing you like drive Uber all the time. But I was like, at the same time, it's just grind.
Again, that's one of those first things, like the first 6 months when you learn about how people's schedules are, especially people that have been in LA. Yeah. Like, man, you go with the flow. Yeah. Like, everybody out here has got to hustle, and they're doing their thing. Yeah. Like, you got to be respectful.
It'd be one thing if, for instance, if I was like, yeah, man, sorry, I can't do this Saturday, Sunday. I'm busy. And then that Saturday and Sunday, you see me like at the beach getting drunk as shit.
I'd be like, yo, what beach are you at? I'll show up with the mics.
Yeah, no, that I would respect. But then it's just different, because it's like, okay, he could have came, but he decided, what I'm saying? Then it's different. But when I see somebody that's can't do something for the timing, but I see them hustling, I'm like, I respect it, because they have their own hustle. They have to worry about themselves before they worry about everyone else. And it's how sometimes things have to roll out,
All right, man. Final question.
How long is it?
We're at like an hour.
God,
hour 10, something like that.
Bliss, yeah, this shit happens.
Not really. Final question. I do want to ask you, because this is funny, because when I first reached out to you, I was like, man, this guy knows how to personal brand. His energy is amazing.
I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah.
No, but it's just, but it's you. You're just being you, right? Yeah. But personal branding has now taken this new form in business, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if you're the face of a business, you need to like be out and about, like hustling and marketing it. I think the branding you've done for the podcast is pretty badass.
Thank you.
It's awesome. From the signs to the neon light to just like giving yourself a nickname, a couple of nicknames, Bobbay.
Bobbay, Beard Man, B.O.B.
So I know you say you don't know what you're doing, but you kind of know what you're doing. Like what's the end goal of that?
That's a good question. So that it is 2 separate brands, and I didn't really realize that until probably when I got to LA. I didn't really realize it when I was in Boston for that year. It was just about Purpose in the Youth. But you really do have 2 separate brands, because Purpose in the Youth, the podcast, is bigger than me for sure. So let me just start off by that. I'm not bigger than the podcast. The podcast is bigger than me. That is a vehicle for unfolding the stories of passionate people. That will always be the vehicle of conversations, at least for me right now, and trying to give people a platform to listen into conversations that maybe they're interested in and learning more about the photographer, the podcaster, the fashion designer. Maybe they don't have any friends that will have honest conversations, and they can use that to inspire them. That's what Purpose in the Youth represents. Then you got Bobbay, the bearded man, world
2%.
World-renowned Uber driver, the favorite bearded man, B.O.B. Dude, whole nother energy, but still so much the same energy. High energy, passionate, trying to make the best of every opportunity that I get. Loves humans, loves to have a good time, loves energy, loves to be around passionate people. that Bobbay is now starting to just enter a world of, I need to go down entertainment. I don't know exactly what, but I thrive in this.
Yep.
I'm not the best. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying I deserve to be at the top, but this is a high to me. When you say, all right, camera's rolling, or the podcast are live, or the mic's live, it's an energy, man. It is. I don't know what it is, but I love it, and I love seeing people react to my content, because I'm like, man, it's cool. It's cool to fire people up, because this is naturally who I am. This is naturally just what I want to become. I just want to be up. I want to be high energy. I want to be positive, because I remember where I was 2 years ago.
Yep.
But where I'm going is unknown. I'm not so focused on the exact path, but I'm willing to try anything and everything. I love to try acting one day. I want to keep podcasting. I would love to get to a point where I'm producing enough content that I'm living off of it, but it's solely my content. I'd love to roll out a Netflix series one day, taking this type of content, but to Netflix size. I love to try anything with entertainment. Maybe I would love to do like a live podcast with an audience, do something like this, but with people. Love to do meet and greets. Love to do like a pop-up shop. Love to do a booth at Complex Con while everyone's walking by. I have people pulling in, doing 10-minute interviews. I used to be worried about having the perfect plan, and I'm not anymore. I'm just about what makes sense right now. Am I having fun? If you go back on my YouTube content, you're going to see a lot of different content, because ever since I moved to LA, I really got the inspiration of just try anything, see what works, see what I enjoy, and see what doesn't work. And I've just been trying a lot of different stuff. I did for about 30 weeks. I did this weekly YouTube series it started off as The Journey series, like pretty lame. Everything is The Journey. And then I realized, okay, I got to flip the brand name of this. It's called Bearded Man Moments. And it was pretty much just a weekly vlog of me reflecting on the past week. And it was cool. Tried that. I did another podcast with my roommates called Breakfast is Served for about 20 weeks. I did a brain food YouTube series called Brain Food, just me ranting in my garage with different outfits. I've just been trying anything and everything that interests me, that showcases my personality, that showcases the highs. There was a video that I put out 4 weeks ago when I got back from Massachusetts. I shot this video. I haven't talked about it anywhere since it came out, and I didn't even really post about it. Or the post that I did post about it, I didn't show this specific clip, but I made this video when I was about to leave Massachusetts, and my parents were gone. My sister was already back in South Carolina. I was waiting for my buddy to pick me up, bring me to the airport, and I was making like this final 3-minute video I'm like at my doorstep about to leave, and I was just talking about, I'm just happy to be home, happy to see family and friends. This has been the place that I've grown up, and I literally started choking up on camera, and I didn't think that was going to happen. The plan was just shoot a quick vlog of like, yep, happy to be here. I knew it wasn't going to be high energy. I knew it wasn't going to be my typical content, but I was like, let me document this. And I choked up, started literally tearing from my eyes, and stopped recording it. I finished it up, and then I was like, fuck, am I gonna put something out like this? Like, this isn't me. This isn't my brand. This is not me. And I was like, that is me though. Like, this is me. Like showcasing
in that moment,
showcasing the actual Bobbay. Not just that he is the high energy 99% of the time, but I'm also a human being, and I'm also somebody that is emotional, that loves family, loves friends, and to be 3,000 miles away from home. I love LA, and I'll probably be here for a long time, but going home and seeing people, it's like seeing my little cousins that in a year, they look so much different than clearly when we get to our age, we just, it doesn't look different.
Slows
I'm
down,
like, fuck, man, I'm missing out on so much, but you have to do these things. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that, so putting out that content of me literally choking up on camera, I put it out, I got a lot of feedback from it, and I just was like, you know what? For the rest of my life, at least for content, I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to show people the highs and the lows. 95% of the time, you're going to get the high energy. You're going to get the just making the best, just like the Instagram clip I put up for you. We're making some bearded content, high energy, whatever. But I'm also going to sneak in the 5% of the real truth behind the scenes because I want people to connect with me. I want people to really see what I'm going through, the mental processes. And wherever this road takes me, hopefully to the top of the game, whatever that might be, acting, podcasting, YouTube, whatever it might be, I just want to do it the right way. I want to be good at people. I don't want to screw people over. I want to create content that inspires people. I want to create stuff that motivates people, that entertains people, that laughs, that brings dogs into it. Well, let it run. And I just want to see where the world takes me from there. And I'm not heart and set on anything. I want to keep running with this until it makes sense.
Yep.
I'm not here to say that Purpose in the Youth is me 50 years from now. It's been the vehicle for me to find myself, and I'm going to keep running with it until it doesn't make sense. But no matter what, Bobbay is going to continue to roll in this world of entertainment. And wherever it takes me, I can promise it is always going to be, when you're about to click into something, you got to have your seatbelt on because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. It's going to be a roller coaster ride. So wherever it takes me, we'll run with it.
Dude, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm speechless right now.
Yeah.
Only thing I can say is where can people find you?
Anywhere, man. Anywhere. If YouTube, you can type in Bobbay. Or you on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, it's at Bobbay, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. People are like, you're crazy. Long story short, Instagram didn't have B-O-B-B-A-Y. I tried B-O-B-B-A-A-Y. Didn't have
We
that.
all been there, man.
Kept going. So it's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Purpose in the Youth, you can find on Spotify, iTunes podcast app. My YouTube is both Bobbay and the Purpose in the Youth all together. You can type in Purpose in the Youth on YouTube. That's going to be there. Instagram, the whole shebang.
We'll link it, man.
And I mean, if they want to find the content, they'll find it. But
you need to like claim. So this is funny. Side note: emoji URLs were supposed to be rolling out at some point.
Oh, really?
In the future. So claim that bearded man at some point.
100%. I'm claiming
that,
it. I don't see anybody else posting about it.
Go search on Google emoji URLs.
I'm claiming that. And I need them to make a little change because they don't have a red bearded man. They don't have that.
That's interesting.
I have brown. It's weird, bro. I have brown hair.
I got the same thing.
I have like a red beard. I kind of feel half not authentic when I'm posting this white man with the black beard. I'm like, that's not me. But nobody's calling me out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a custom one made up and see if I can do that. But yeah, at Bobbay everywhere, Purpose in the Youth everywhere, and people can reach out to me anywhere I'm there.
Cool, man. It's been a pleasure.
Dude, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for reaching out to me, for putting this together, for putting out this type of content. Thank you. It means the world to me. It really does.
All right, guys. We will see you on the next one. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about the Run With Tobe podcast. Search us on social, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, you guys better give them a rate. 5 stars on the iTunes right now. Right now.